Welcome to Fintech Uncut, the quiz show with candid commentary on the biggest fintech and financial services news of the week that was. Disclaimer: this show is created purely for entertainment purposes and contains segments of sarcasm, satire, parody, and humor. Even if you don't think any of it is funny, the creators do not accept any responsibility or liability for the accuracy of any content shared and reminded you to always fact-check everything yourself. And now, it's over to your quiz master.
Hello everyone, welcome at Fintech Uncut, the quiz show with candid commentary on the week's biggest fintech and financial services stories with the wise guy, the other guy, Judge Mary, and myself, your host. Who would have thought? This is episode 6 already, and you bet it's a special one. If you watch the movie or the video version on YouTube or Spotify, you notice that we all put on our best Christmas wear today, trying to impress the judge for a few additional points. How sensitive is Judge Mary for ugly Christmas sweaters? You will soon find out throughout the show as our wise guy and other guy answer 6 questions on the news of the week. And Chris is just showing his Lion King Christmas sweater to Judge Mary, trying to influence her well before the quiz actually started.
That sounded like the Wine King, and I am a Wine King. That's fine.
Yeah, you're always whining.
That is correct.
I'm always drinking wine. I'm not whining. You're moaning, mate.
Talking about whining, let's start with the first question, which has nothing to do with wine. It took Netflix 3.5 years to reach 1 million users, Airbnb 2.5 years, Spotify 5 months. But which novelty reached 1 million users in only 5 days this week?
It's Christmas!
I love it.
Chris has got a good buzzer there.
I think you got there first.
Okay, we can stop the show. He won already.
Was it the Fintech Uncut YouTube channel? Did we get 1 million users already?
Damn, that's exactly what I was going to say. Gosh, the number of Fintech Uncut subscribers, 1 million in 5 days. That's what we have to do, guys.
We're nearly there.
Everybody must subscribe.
I'm confused because, isn't this about Harry and Meghan? But they got 100 million views in 5 days or whatever it is. It's the Netflix inaugural launch of talking about whining couples. Yeah.
Please don't tell me that they got that much view. Oh no, I can't believe it.
Oh, seriously, I mean, it's an explosion of interest about a couple just talking about we met on social media and went on a date. I mean, it's ridiculous. I'm not going to go there because, I am a royalist. Obviously, I'm very British.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I was going to say that it was related to our favorite non-sponsor, and it was the increase in users on Hive Social and Mastodon Social, which has increased by millions ever since Elon Musk took over Twitter. They've literally, both of them have exploded. It brought down the servers on Hive Social with the number of sign-ups that they were getting. Was that not the story?
But
Well,
they
I must
exist
say,
more than 5
it
days.
is related to the number of people leaving Twitter since Elon Musk took over. I mean, it's 1 million in 5 minutes, I think, rather than 5 days.
All right, lots of shade going down. What's the real answer?
Well, the real answer, I'm a bit concerned here because the quizmaster keeps on telling me this is a fintech show. This is a fintech show, and then he throws in a question that's got nothing to do with fintech because I believe that the only thing that's got 1 million users in 5 days was the new OpenAI Chat GPT, which is the chatbot that is based on OpenAI. And it can solve complex problems and it converses like a human and almost. And people have been getting it to write essays, to write songs, to write poetry, to write ads, to do all sorts of crazy stuff. So what's it got to do with fintech?
Well, it's not really fintech, but it's kind of like next generation of technology using artificial intelligence. So when we talk about fintech, bear in mind half of it is tech. And this is a really important development using OpenAI. And what I like about it is that initially I was quite cynical because it couldn't tell me whether England would win the World Cup, which obviously they will. But it did write a very good song in a Coldplay style about money. It gave me a very fantastic speech about going into space from Elon Musk in his style and stuff like that. And what I see happening is it's just a great tool. It's a great way of, for example, I asked it for a best man speech at a wedding. Not that I'm going to a wedding, but if I was going to a wedding, it gave me a great speech. So I think it's a fantastic new technology tool that's now in the open market. And as Rick said, 1 million users in 5 days, which took Netflix and others months or years, is amazing.
And can quickly become a fintech thing if you ask him how to build a fintech.
Well, I think that the positive for me that I look forward to is, for years I've been banging on to whoever will listen to say, I wish I had my father's bank manager, in terms of somebody who actually understood what the hell I was trying to do, and to help me get there in terms of financial health, financial wellness, my financial planning, that kind of a thing. And these days, bank managers don't. All they want to do is they want to plug their own products to you. They really have zero interest in you as a human, other than how can they contact you and try and sell you more product. Sorry, prove me wrong. But AI could actually do that, because AI, if it was trained on your own data and you could have a conversation with it without any of the associated concerns about privacy, or maybe even shame that a lot of people have, oh, I've got too much debt and what do I do about it? And the more it could get to know about you, the more it could actually give you proper financial insights to move forward. So from that perspective, that's the kind of a thing that I'm looking forward to as an implementation of AI within financial services.
Although, Murray, when it comes to getting to know people, apparently the tool also used Twitter to make the link with Elon Musk again. He wasn't too happy with that, was it?
No, he wasn't happy at all. And he put, the article said, he put an immediate pause on it because OpenAI is no longer nonprofit and open source. So, and said it should pay for the information going forward. So not too happy, but this is a really interesting development. I used it to check out like our recipe, which I know, like if you Google that, it's just that long list for SEO purposes. So I'm kind of curious, even like for people searching like for financial services products, what this will do. I used to work at Bankrate, which compared products, but this will be really profound to see how it affects the way. And scores, Andrew gets high marks for dissing Rick subtly at the beginning. 7 points, and Chris slam dunking with visions of this tool. So I'm gonna start with 7 and 7 for different reasons. So
very good.
And you can call me a tool if you want to.
Happily.
Are you ready for question number 2? You and I know that central banks cannot go bankrupt. However, what made the Belgian Press decide to publish an article asking exactly that question?
It's Christmas! I think I got there first this time. And I guess it's just what Belgians do. They kind of ask the questions no one else would ask. Like, sort of, what was the real relationship between Tintin and Snowy?
What? That's a bizarre thing.
Well, those are the sorts of questions that Belgians ask because they're Belgians. Like, sort of, the center of Europe is Belgium, in Brussels, with all the laws and, the bureaucrats. And that's the reason why they ask questions no one else would ask. Like, what would happen if a central bank went bust?
You mean that we think out of the box?
No, you think out of the universe.
I take that as a compliment, Rick.
I don't think like anyone else.
To me, Belgium means beer, chocolates, and waffles. And seeing the absolutely dismal failure of the EU's metaverse party, I reckon that Belgium decided that they were going to put on a physical party and let people have all the beer, chocolate, and waffles that they wanted. And therefore, the press got a bit worried because they're going, well, hang on a minute, that's going to make the place bankrupt because everybody will just go crazy on beer, chocolate, and waffles. Yeah,
Maybe,
Right.
or maybe they were asking the question around what's the future of the Belgian armed forces, and I would go, what's the history?
Oh,
Savage.
oh, you might get burned by the quizmaster on there. It's like,
I'm
Well,
not
Rick can
burning
tell us. I
anyone.
mean, come on.
I'm
All
just here
right.
to ask questions.
I think,
Chris, Andrew, serve it up for you.
well,
But I reckon it's something to do with the press are looking at the quantitative easing in Europe and specifically in Belgium and saying, guess what? The amount of money that's been issued into the economy, it means our central bank is bankrupt. Something around that.
It has to do with that exactly.
I think they probably read the article a week ago in the UK press saying that the taxpayers are going to be on the hook for billions of pounds because of UK's quantitative easing policy as well. So I think Belgians are waking up to a new fact around there, yeah?
But
Yeah.
a central bank cannot go bankrupt because it's actually underpinned by the government. So it's really down to sovereign debt and the trust in the country on the global markets. So as long as the markets are buying treasury bonds and government bonds, then you can carry on issuing money. It's not a problem.
But the thing is, I had a discussion with Nazir Zubairi of the Loft, the Luxembourg House of Technology, and he was heavily surprised that the Belgian central bank is stock listed. And that means that many households that bet on a safe stock like the central bank, which makes recurring money in the past through financial intermediation with very stable dividends, suddenly makes a loss, being unable to pay those dividends, and the value of these shares went down drastically. And apparently that's quite exceptional that a central bank is on the stock exchange because it's supposed to be an independent institution.
Well, there's quite a few different models. I mean, some central banks are actually owned by the government. Most are independent of government, but run the government's sort of agenda. So the Bank of England and the Federal Reserve, for example, are not government departments. They're completely separate institutions,
Yep.
but they're not stock listed. And that's one of the differences with the Belgian bank. But as I say, as long as there's trust in the economy, there's trust in the stock.
All right.
Mary.
Yeah, that covered like everything. I'll just read the last quote that was in an article because I think it sums it up, that some economists do indeed fear that the losses do not make a good impression, but at the end of the day, it's just a policy choice by governments whether or not to supplement central banks' equity. Yeah, it's way different than the US. So in terms of points, Chris, I didn't give you the edge for that great buzzer last time. So I'm giving you an edge this time with an 8, and also for your answer, of course. And Andrew, you'll have a 5 this round.
Oh,
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm just going to go for a quick 5-second break.
all right, guys, round number 2. And I don't know, for the people that have been watching this show, there's been a change. Chris, can you please stand up?
Of course.
Can the real Chris Skinner please stand up? Please
Please
stand
stand up. Please stand up.
No.
Alrighty. Mr. Wolfenstein, you can sit back. Question number 3. Fintech and payment geeks like us should really get excited now. And it's not because of a wolf on a shirt or sweater. What should we all hope for to put on our 2023 Christmas list?
Fintech Uncut merchandise.
Oh, awesome.
T-shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, bags, all that kind of stuff. If we can just get the Fintech Uncut CTO to coordinate with the website developer and the show producer, then by the time the show goes live, the merchandise shop should be on there.
And NFT developers.
Oh, wait, all 3 of those people are me.
I thought you were going to say Chris Skinner's books. But whatever.
No, that's for this year.
Actually, the real fintech geeks will be wanting the present that Musk is giving Bezos, a huge, giant number 2 statue of a digit 2 in silver, because Elon Musk has just been announced as being the richest person in the world, overtaking Jeff Bezos. And in an interview with Forbes, he said, I'm going to send Bezos a giant statue, silver number 2, as a present. So there we go. It would make you the second richest person in the world if you got one of those.
No, when you say that, Andrew, it sounds like he's sending a great big poo to Elon Musk. Number 2 is a poo. Yeah, it's not like number 1 is a wee, number 2 is a poo.
Chris gets the buzzer figure.
And actually, I think, Andrew, you misunderstood my question. What should we all hope for to put on our Christmas list? Each and every one. So it's not just one statue, of course.
Fintech Uncut merchandise and Chris Skinner's books.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, on a seriously sober note, I think a lot of fintech people will want a job for Christmas, because I see that Morgan Stanley have just announced another 1,600 job cuts, 2% of their global workforce, joining most of the other big institutions that have all been making cuts over the last month or so. So that if I was, I haven't been able to find a job in the last 8 blooming years, for crying out loud. So
I'm
job market
is found one.
Yeah,
I thought you were dealing with the merchandise, etc.
I'm unemployable. Yeah, it doesn't pay anything. Till we get a sponsor.
But it's Christmas.
Yeah.
You share with Christmas, Andrew.
We'll share in the profits of the merch. All right, what are the real answers? Andrew, Chris, step it up.
I've got a feeling it might be to do with the clairvoyant Michael Lewis, who wrote Liar's Poker and has been top of his game ever since. I'm rather jealous because his books sell more than mine, but that's because he's always on the edge. So he wrote a book about flash trading just as the flash crash came along, and his newest one is about Sam Bankman-Fried, who is the guy behind FTX, the collapsed crypto exchange. And strange enough, Michael Lewis was shadowing him for the last 6 months to produce his new book, well before the crash, obviously because he felt there was something suspect about the guy. And sure enough, as it's turned out, there was something incredibly suspect about a company that was valued at 32 billion and collapsed within a week, near enough.
And he's in negotiation with Apple about the film rights and talking to Netflix and all of them as well. So yeah, he's making a lot more than just his book sales from there.
And also, so is Sam, because what's annoying a lot of people is that he's going around doing this apology tour across the networks, and people are saying, you should be in jail, mate. Bernie Madoff went to jail for doing a $60 billion Ponzi scheme. Why aren't you, when you've done exactly the same thing?
Can somebody explain why he hasn't been prosecuted yet? Why is the guy walking around a free man after what he's done? I mean, it's blatant fraud. I mean, even just at a company level, gross negligence, lack of oversight, that kind of thing. The guy should be in jail.
Do we have a lawyer in the room? Where's the lawyer in the room?
When you look at his apology, it's basically, I messed up. I didn't know what I was doing. I was naive. So...
Not an excuse for a director.
Poor young man, forgive him, let him off.
No chance. Not an excuse for a director. Director's a serious position to hold.
What's your view, Mary?
Well, my view is that, he needs his reckoning. This is like insanity happening right now. But my other view is I cannot wait to read this book. What a compelling, topic. And I'll be really curious to see what opens it. The lead of the story will be, I'm sure, fascinating. And with that, points, Chris, you get 6 points, including for your outfit change, your style, your commitment to making this pop. Andrew, you get 4 this round.
Come on, Andrew. Let's start with question 4 to make sure that you can at least stay close to Chris. Indonesia's central bank governor has a plan to make CBDCs in the country a tremendous success. What was it?
It's Christmas.
It doesn't get old.
No, I don't think that was it, but I think it's that they're going to put Harry and Meghan's pictures on the front of their digital coins, and like everyone in the world will want them because they're a limited NFT edition. You know, each coin has a special address.
It can't be too far from that. I was going to say I thought that they were just going to get on TikTok. You know, according to a website called centralbanking.com, 52% of external communications of central banks is across social media. I never knew that. I don't follow any central. Does anybody here follow a central bank on social media? I didn't even know they're on social media. So maybe
I don't follow them. I stalk them.
Yeah, maybe we should start following. I don't know. So
Troll.
maybe
Stalk them and work out how to hack them. That's sorry, no, that's my other hobby. I mean, I actually think the best idea they could have, and this is what the Chinese People's Republic did when they were launching their CBDC, is give every Indonesian 20,000 rupiah in a digital wallet and say, and 20,000 rupiah just in context is like $1. It's not a lot. Just give that to every Indonesian and say, work out how to use our CBDC wallets, and off you go.
it would have been a lot more effective than what's happening in Nigeria. I mean, Nigeria have just put a limit on their ATMs and stopped people from withdrawing more than $45 a day from their.
We're not allowed to use ATM on this show. Rick will tell you why.
Oh,
No, I won't tell you why, but
I want to know why.
No, you really don't.
No, you don't want to know why. You can see that on Chris' Twitter account.
Yes, yeah, you can see.
But Andrew, you talk about ATMs in a digital currency context.
Well, no, because what Nigeria have done is, in order to force people, I mean, they launched their CBDC quite a while ago, and less than 0.5% of the population have actually used a CBDC. So as a result, the Nigerian government has now placed a limit. No more than $45 a day can be removed in cash, because they're trying to force people to use digital channels, preferably their CBDCs. And actually, anybody who tries to draw more than that, private individuals, I think, are being charged an extra 5%, and businesses an extra 20% or so. I'm unsure of the figures. I'll put the links in the show notes. But yeah, so Nigeria are trying to force it, and I'd prefer Chris's version of a rather carrot rather than stick. That would be a better idea.
Mary, they're still not close, are they?
No. I was like, I don't know. We're blurring into almost an answer, but let's slam dunk it, guys. What, any other thoughts that this might be actually?
The government have made an announcement, Indonesian government have made an announcement that they will make CBDCs the only legal tender in Indonesia. That's an astonishingly bold move, to make it the only legal tender, not just a legal tender, but the only legal tender. I mean, Chris, what are the implications of that being an only legal tender?
Well, they obviously have to work that out, because it's a nice ideal, but when you think about practically, Indonesians, like Nigerians, could just as easily use cryptocurrencies to trade, which don't recognize borders or governments. So how they crack down on the borderless trade is going to be the challenge. But within the country, it also raises the question of, does that mean they will withdraw all fiat currencies that are physical and only have CBDCs? I don't quite know how they worked out the plan, but I'm watching that space, because if it is true, it's quite radical.
And if it is true, I think at the end, bottom line, isn't that the end goal of every CBDC? I think it wasn't even worth the news item, because, well, that's what we all want to achieve sooner or later. We're building CBDCs for a cashless future.
But so we've spoken about often before the fact that a CBDC, being a digital currency, requires digital inclusion. And we know that digital inclusion is far greater problem than financial inclusion. So how do you digitally include kids on the street that just want to go and buy an ice cream? What, you're gonna have 5-year-olds running around with some form of digital device now to be able to transact with a CBDC wallet. Nonsense.
Yeah, no. If you look at the converse of that, when I've been around India, QR codes are pervasive everywhere. So as long as you can read a QR code, you can pay. And look, Rick's doing an impersonation of Sooty and Sweep.
And with that, we're definitely at time. So let's see. I wanna dish out points. Andrew, I want to do a point for asking a thoughtful question to Chris during that implication. So you're gonna get a 5, and Chris is also going to get a 5, which still makes Chris leading.
All right, guys, the WTF round, a new sweater for Skinner. Chris, can you show your sweater this time again?
Of course. This is my Santa out of this world
That
sweater.
is lovely.
My
This is
favorite
your
of the
Chris
three.
Skinnermas.
Bit small maybe, but good sweater.
That was a
All right, let's go
It's
back
not
to the essence
sweaters
of the
that get
show.
smaller, it's that I'm getting bigger.
This is not a design show, so let's keep it to technology.
It's
Question
a little
number
bit
1.
of a design show.
In stories are human versus machines, humans always win through smart solutions to fight machines. Reality is not always that heroic. How did humans win the fight against KmsdBot or something?
Is it that they showed them my page from OnlyFans? I mean, that would wreck
Oh.
any bot.
that would
-2 for Chris.
that would break humans as well as bots if we saw your OnlyFans page, Chris. Even
Are you
just the
saying
thought-
you're going to blow my bots?
And again, the
Come on,
swatter.
guys.
And the swatter.
This is a Christmas show.
I think
Okay.
it's got to be that they got Keanu Reeves or Arnold Schwarzenegger or somebody like that to come and solve the problem, because they're the only ones with experience against the robot armies of the futures, aren't they? Or otherwise,
I always wondered about those robot armies of the future, because like in Terminator, they're all marching along, and then I keep thinking, what happens if you pull the plug? Because you don't see them recharging. So how do they keep going? Like eventually, they just go. Ugh.
energy harvesting. But well, maybe it was a good old-fashioned virus, like going back in other movie plots like War of the Worlds. Chris, you've been to the live experience, right? So War of the Worlds, they killed the Martians by getting a human virus because they had an organic component to the bots.
Yeah, that's what we did with most life on Earth as well. That's what humans do. Oh, sorry, that's not very Christmassy, is it?
Mary, this is going everywhere and
It's
nowhere.
going nowhere. It's going
I
nowhere.
do
All right,
wonder
Andrew,
when-
Chris.
When we move to
really.
Mars, what diseases will we take to Mars, or what will we bring back? Who knows?
Well,
-2.
I mean, somebody could have used the GPT chat bot to actually create code to kill the bot, because I have seen people doing that, where they've actually fed the chat GPT instructions.
How do I kill the bot?
And well, it's generated code, but
Kill bots.
in this particular story that I think that you're referring to is the KmsdBot, which was a particularly nasty crypto mining bot that would take over systems and use those systems for crypto mining. So it actually is 100% fintech related, because they would just farm out and use everybody else's systems. And occasionally they would turn their bots for denial of service attacks, so DDoS attacks. And the bot was particularly nasty because it's very difficult to reverse engineer it. It was written in Golang, which again made it exceptional. Very few bots are written in Golang, and it had no
Golang,
persistence.
Indonesia? No.
And no, that isn't a country in Indonesia.
Oh, okay.
And what happened was that the bot operator killed the bot by mistake, by a typo. So nobody purposely killed it. The security firms that have been monitoring this bot and its activity suddenly saw it go dead, and they were tracing the operations. And the operator of the entire botnet left out a space in a command, which caused an error, And because the bot has no persistence, it went down and stayed down, and that's it. For them to try and they have to reinfect the machines. They can't revive the bots anymore. It's a
So what you're really saying is that the botnet was missing a space, so it became a bootnet that had to be rebootnet to work, something like that.
Something like that. It's just, yeah, it's a typo killed one of the worst bots that have been around for quite a while, and yeah, not just humans or autocorrect.
Mary, that deserves
Andrew,
some points.
that was a flawless answer, I have to say. So you get a 6, plus you got the +1 for dissing Chris, and Chris got a -2 for his OnlyFans, and then he got a 3 for some of his answer. But yes, the oopsie undid the bot, and I love that for it.
I have the impression that dress-up parties for Chris making very sharp in terms of jokes, but not so much in terms of valid answers. But you have one more question to make up for that, Chris.
Okay.
And that is, suppose the new book of Michael Lewis on Sam Bankman-Fried comes out next year. Which measure that gained much more traction in 2022 allows to save the required funds to buy the book?
It's Christmas!
I reckon that must be my OnlyFans account, because like I need the money, guys. So the more you click, I won't say what rhymes with click, because it'll offend Mary again, and I'm gonna get buzzed off for the 3rd time. But yeah,
well, I keep putting in my head that it's a decent OnlyFans account of yours. You're just sharing fintech information. I don't want to know anything more, Chris.
No, it's all above board, honestly. But above something. Anyway.
No, the audience for that there.
No ATMs involved.
I mean, maybe it's the selling of the central bank before it goes bankrupt.
I think that the only way that all of us are saving money is demonstrated right here, right now. We're all wearing jumpers, not because it's Christmas, but because we've all turned down the heating. And we're sitting freezing cold, and just turning down the heating is saving enough money for us to be able to buy Bankman-Fried's book.
It's just that you're Ebenezer Scrooge. You can't afford your heating bill. My heating's on, mate. I'm doing fine. But then that's because I was in crypto, and I sold out before it disappeared this year.
That was a luck, that one. Otherwise, we can all turn to extreme couponing, like they've been doing in America for years. You know, there's loads of TV shows and YouTube channels and everything on extreme couponing, and it's going absolutely crazy with people saving ridiculous amounts of money off their shopping bills with extreme couponing. There's even a Netflix show about those ladies that went to jail for like starting a whole extreme couponing thing, wasn't there? Didn't they counterfeit coupons or something? I have to watch the show still. It's on my list. A lot of things to watch.
This is getting much closer than Chris' answer, isn't it, Mary?
Yeah, it's Andrew is, yeah, he's on the right track. Any added real information you'd like to provide?
Well, there's been a notable movement of people, particularly in Britain, for example, to switch bank accounts because they can get incentives to switch. And so over 100,000 people have switched in the last months because they get £200 for opening a new bank account as a gift to say thank you for joining our bank. And in this time of people like Andrew who can't afford to put his radiator on, then obviously he's still there. He's got 15 bank accounts now. He's joined Starling, Monzo, you name it, he's there.
Metal, Revolut, Wise,
Yeah.
Monzo.
Small side note that Starling and Monzo don't offer that much. The 200 was at HSBC and quite exceptional from what I understood.
175 from Halifax and First Direct as well.
Yeah, I'm just saying that Andrew takes the £20 from Starling. He doesn't care. He'll take anything, like any donations. Yeah, it's Christmas time and he's feeling like he needs help. Donations to my OnlyFans page, please.
What a sad way to use a bank bonus.
Oh, man.
Mary.
Okay, here's the thing. In the States, switching doesn't really happen. I don't know. Do you guys think this is like notable, or do you think it's still like small potatoes, or it points to something bigger? Because like here, like people are just like, we'll open up some more and we're not switching to anything really.
Well, it got so much that a whole lot of the banks had to withdraw their offers because it had such a big run. I mean, literally tens of thousands of people. And So we've got this guy called Martin Lewis here, Martin Lewis Money Saver Tips kind of a thing, and literally he publishes content all the time about the best money saving tips, and when he puts something else, everybody just goes, wow, bang. So he published an article saying here's the best banks to earn a bit of extra cash before Christmas, and everybody just went crazy. And
But it's also so well regulated by the regulator to switch that there's no more friction. I don't know how that works in the United States, but banks are mandated to just provide the direct debits, etc. They just have to switch it to another bank upon request of the client without additional fees for the service offers.
And just to be clear, Martin Lewis is no relation of Michael Lewis, who we mentioned earlier, writing the book about Sam Bankman-Fried. But what's interesting is there are very clever people, and in the States it tends to be couponing. In the UK it tends to be that you watch these shows and find out what offers are being made and you take advantage of them. So I always remember Santander ran a very interesting program called the 123 account, which gave you increasing returns based on which utilities and bills and payments you put into your account. And that was costing them over £1 billion a year, which is why they then cut it eventually. Because £1 billion a year just to get people to switch and then keep them, it costs you too much.
Yeah, I think it's wild because here in the States, people chase credit card offers, but we have the articles about best bank bonuses, but I don't think it really gets love, doesn't get that much action. But final scores. Chris with 6, Andrew with 4. Chris is
It's Christmas!
Christmas
win!
Alrighty, Merry Christmas, everyone. Although it's still quite far away, in my mind, but this is unfortunately the last show of 2022. But I reckon we come back. We got a lot of positive feedback, and if you have anything to share with us, please do so. Thank you all for listening and for watching. And of course, we cannot wait for more international fintech news in 2023. Don't forget to subscribe on whatever channel you're on. This was the 6th episode of Fintech Uncut, and we hope to entertain you, your colleagues, your friends, your connections and followers, your cats and dogs, and more very soon again. And who knows, 2023, there's gonna be some switching around in the people that you see here on screen, just as a matter of variation every once in a while. Thank you very much, and speak to you soon. Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year.
And Christmas and rock and roll.